So hi everyone. Thank you for coming to my talk. I'm sorry that I cannot be in person for this great conference, but I will do my best on this online virtual speech. So let's just start. So I'm from China and my name is Zhiluohan. You can just call me 11. The topic of my presentation is deep into Android Bluetooth bug hunting, attack surface and weak code patterns. So next slide. So first is some introduction about myself. So right now I'm a security researcher at Oppo Amber Security Lab. In recent years, I have mainly focused on Android vulnerabilities research and also work on IoT and workers in my spare time. So if you have any question about this talk or other topics, so you can contact me at any time with Twitter or email. So here is an agenda. The presentation is divided into 4 main sections. In the introduction section, I will talk about some basic information about the Bluetooth and some previous research and historic vulnerability analysis on Android Bluetooth. And next, I will show you some attack surface I know. Then I will introduce some useful methods, including code audit and fuzzing. So finally, there will be a brief summary and outlook for future work. So let's talk about some history of the Android Bluetooth stack. Before Android 4.2, Google ported BlueZ, which is the default Bluetooth protocol stack for Linux. But however, BlueZ is not suitable for Android platform. Therefore, about 2 years later, Google and Broadcom developed Bluedroid to replace BlueZ. And from Android 6 to Android 13, Google changed the name of the Bluetooth protocol stack twice. So the rapid iteration and code refactoring in a few years makes the Android Bluetooth more and more powerful. But on the other hand, it also makes the code more vulnerable. In addition, the Bluetooth code lacked unit test and security audit, so making its security at a very low level in the years. And moreover, Bluetooth has a wide range of application scenarios and complex protocols. So this reason leads to constant discovery of security risk in the Android Bluetooth stack. Look at this diagram. This diagram shows that Android Bluetooth architectures. It shows the relationship between the different layers. There are 5 layers. So from top to bottoms as follows: application framework layer, Bluetooth system service, GNI, Bluetooth stack, and window. And each layer communicates with other layers through the different IPC, such as band IPC and the GNI calls. And based on the principle of least privilege, this architecture reduces the attack damage. But on the other hand, more layers also give me more chance to find more attack surface. So next slide. So in recent years, researchers have also published many research results on Android Bluetooth. The Blueborne is among the most influential ones. So it is a series of Bluetooth vulnerabilities in dangerous multiple operating systems, including Android, iOS, and Windows and Linux. And due to this disclosure of Blueborne, more researchers began to focus on Bluetooth security. And of course, I'm one of them. So I'm really grateful to these researchers for publishing their results. And I checked the statistics of series of the Bluetooth module in the past 6 years based on the data from the Android security bulletins. So since Android team no longer published detailed information about media and no vulnerabilities, so the statistics only include high and critical. And you can see the data shows that security researchers have found at least 148 vulnerabilities, and including 99 high and 49 critical. And from the chart below, it can be seen that almost half of the vulnerability were discovered in 2018. So this is because many researchers began to dig Bluetooth vulnerabilities after the disclosure of Blueborne. And the other reason is the code quality of the Bluetooth module was not high in 2018. So for example, almost our protect stack codes do not check the length of the input data. So this, which results in a large number of memory corruption vulnerabilities. And up to now, most of the bugs are also still memory corruption type. So next slide. So this is the most important section in this talk, because I think it is necessary that to find our possible attack surface before finding vulnerabilities. So this technology and the tricks about how to find vulnerability are just icing on the cake. Of course, this is my own view. So before starting to explain the attack surface, I will first redraw a Bluetooth architecture diagram from the perspective of the attack. So the diagram is complex. So I will gradually reveal the content to show you what I know about the Bluetooth attack surface. So first of all, I divided it into 3 areas: the host, the control, and the remote. The host area implements our Bluetooth stacks on the up layer, and the control area can be simply regarded as Bluetooth chip, which is used to receiving, packing, and transmitting Bluetooth video data. And the remote area is just a Bluetooth device, just like Bluetooth headset, Bluetooth mouse, and so on, and other Bluetooth device, anything. So this come the Bluetooth system applications, so which implements most Bluetooth core functions. It mainly consists of 3 modules. So the first module contains multiple Bluetooth profiles Java service. This service provides capabilities to up-layer applications through the export interface. And some of the more complex Java service communicate with the GNI module, through the GNI interface. And the GNI module, after doing some type conversation from GNI to native, will continue to call the native module named Bluetooth through the registered interface function. And this native module implements the core functions of the most Bluetooth protocols and profiles. And most of the vulnerabilities are also found in this module. So let's look at the framework layer. The framework layer, there is a Bluetooth managed Java service. This Java service is registered in the system service process. It binds the Java service of the Bluetooth system application, and then it explodes the public interface to the up-use application. So in this layer, Android also implements a local native service called Bluetooth BD, but this service is not enabled by default on any mobile devices. But according to the public information I found it will be enabled on some Linux platforms or other Android TVs. So, and Google has also assigned a CV number to this service. So maybe this is a little known but good attack surface. Let's go on. So the top is application layer. I divided it into untrusted app and hardware applications based on the privilege level. The untrusted application is just a third-party application that can be downloaded in the Google App Store and other App Store. And the hardware application has high privilege, so that can have the right to call hardware service. Okay. Next is so let's go on. Okay, the first attack scenario is the most common one, named malicious Bluetooth radio. Simply speaking, it refers to the malicious Bluetooth data packs sent by Bluetooth device, such as headphones, keyboard. So when a target Android device receives these malicious and malformed data packs, and if the code is not properly handled, it may cause some vulnerabilities. So in this scenario, the data flow is like this. The first, a Bluetooth device will send some malicious data packet, and at this moment, the Bluetooth chip will receive it and transmit it to HCI layer through the kernel driver after some internal processing work. Then, in the native module, the packet will be unpacked and extracted and distributed to each protocol and profile for fusion processing. And for example, the Bluetooth audio data will be transmitted into AVDT and AVRC and AVCT and A2DP for fusion parsings. So through this tracking of the data flow, there are at least 3 vulnerabilities here. The chip code may be at risk when processing malicious data, and memory corruption bugs may occur when the native code parsing and transforms the protocol stack data. And in addition, the callback interface of the GNI may have the security risk when processing data that is either large or short. So let's look at the 6 attack scenarios. So that is malicious untrusted applications. So imagine if an attacker can install an application with no more permission to on the target device. So what attacks can be performed? Let's simply follow the arrows to see the entry calling process. So data will flow through four modules, and 2 types of risk are approach to occur. So first, with the untrusted applications, assess Java service if some high-risk interface do not perform permission check, so it may lead to risk such as unauthorized access and user previous leakage. And the second, some Bluetooth profiles also allow the user application to do some initialize settings. So that means the untrusted application can pass some data to the native module. So at this point, if the native code can handle the data improperly, it may cause some memory corruption vulnerabilities. So this is similar to the previous one. Let's look at the flow. So the difference is that the Bluetooth BD service is a native service. So it contains some C and C++ code. So there may be some memory corruption bugs if the code do not check the input data. Consider if the input data is too big or is too small. The third scenario is malicious hardware application. So if an attack has already gained local privilege escalation, so then it is possible to launch an attack on the Bluetooth hardware application. Bluetooth hardware service. The risk. So the risk here mainly depends on the security of each window code itself. And this most likely one are some risk condition and out of bounds read and write vulnerabilities. So I have found some rare bug a few days ago, but I cannot give you the details today. So the last attack scenario is malicious Bluetooth chip. So this is because in the Bluetooth architectures, the host layer and the control layer are separate. So in series, the host layer should not complete trust and data passed, trust any data passed by the control. So of course, since it is difficult to satisfy the preconditions, so the risk would be small if there is any. But I have already found some bugs in these scenarios. The Bluetooth chip just passed the data to the host layer through the kernel driver. So during parsing of the some malformed event type data packed, memory corruption bugs may occur. So next slide. Okay, so let's put all the attack scenarios in one picture. So you can see this picture. But due to the limited time of this talk, I cannot explain all details. So I have marked some CV numbers in each module. So if you are interested on this, you can check this history vulnerabilities and take a deep dive into this attack surface. And you also can contact me. The next slide. So in this part, I will give you a brief introduction on how to find this vulnerability through this attack surface talked before. So generally, I have used two methods, code audit and fuzzing. And code audit allows us to review the whole life cycle of Bluetooth packet data. But the biggest disadvantage is that it will take a lot of manpower and resource. So therefore, I built some weak code patterns and use code kill for automated code audit. The other method is fuzzing. So I have used fuzzing technology on other modules, such as multiple media file fuzzing. So I often used AFL tools and nipfather for testing. But however, in the Bluetooth module, the situation is different. So in some previous week, researchers usually fuzz Bluetooth remotely. But in my opinion, this method is inefficient and costly. And it is hard to combine code coverage to improve the fuzzing effect. So based on these reasons, I decided to use local fuzz with simulated state machine. So before talk about the technology, you need to know two types that are frequently used in Bluetooth source code. So the left side, the BT HDR structure used to define the header of each buffer used in the Bluetooth stack. The then and the data in the structure are the length of the input packet data and the input packet data buffer address. So the following C code blocks are very common in source code. So you can see this code in everywhere, and are mainly used to obtain the start address and end address of the buffer. And in addition, there are a series of common macros definition mainly used to extract data from the user input. You can see the macro in the right side. These macros themselves have no bounds check. So this is important, which means that the caller needs to ensure that the bounds check are performed before calling these macros. So many historic vulnerabilities have occurred in these macros calls. Okay, let's talk about some weak code patterns. The first common type is inter-overflow in stream D serialization. So let's look at a simple example. So this function receives and processes incoming data. The code uses macros to extract a value of type answer in the 16 from the untrusted data. And then it will store it in the number variables. Then the number variable is multiplied by 4 and stored in the size variable of the same type. So since the input data is completely controllable, So if number is large enough, so under-overflow will occur during calculation of the size. So you can see the comment in this code and make the value of the size smaller than the expected value. And then need the size of memory space allocated by the data variable is smaller than the expected. And finally, it will cause out of bounds write vulnerabilities in this for loop. So also this is a very simple example, but in actually Bluetooth code, I did find some service. So let's just try to write a code script to check this time bug. Okay, the first step we need to find all calls to these macros by filtering on the assigned expression type. Okay, you can see the code. The left side is the code clear code, and the right side is the C++ code. And the second step is to identify our expression that call the macros, and as shown in the code, you can use inst of keyword to achieve this goal. So this code clear code is simple. Also, in the third step, we need to find the case whether these deserialized value are used in arithmetic expressions. So, and which can be done by enumerating common expressions such as self-increment and addition and multiplication and judging where this deserialized value used in the right value. So a last point, in order to reduce false positives, I include a case where there is a very high probability of no overflow, such as the situation when the maximum value of the left value variable is much greater than the maximum value of the right value variable. This situation you can see in the right. So the last step, after running this script on the libplus library, I got a lot of results with quickly. However, this script is root and code clear itself has limitation. So most of the results are false positives, such as the code here, such as the C code here. The script cannot recognize the relative complex calculation expression. But fortunately, through the Fuzzing manual analysis, I also found 4 really secret bugs. So let's just talk one of them. So this vulnerability is located in the SDP protect stack. The value of the current handle is read from the controllable buffer, and it can take on any value from 0 to unsigned 16 marks. And the current handles will participate in multiple subsequent arithmetic calculations. And multiple inter-overflows may occur, which will bypass this check of data boundaries. So finally need to add out of bounds read bugs in the for loop. So I have read some comments in the code. So you can look this. Next slide. Let's talk about another vulnerabilities I found. So this vulnerability is also, the length check is bypassed due to inter-overflow. This is similar with the previous vulnerabilities. And you can give the details from the code. Okay, so let's look at the second way code patterns. Used are free due to ingrowing error states. So the Android Bluetooth implements simple memory management mechanisms. The OSI molecule and OSI free function are simple encapsulation of molecule and free functions. So when I audit the code, I found that the PMSG object will be passed in multiple functions, especially send and receive between different handles for processing through the message suite. So this architecture will bring some potential risk. After this object are forwarded many times, some memory secure bus approach occur, such as used are free and double freed. So let's take a look at this simple example. So after this P message object is passed into some function, it will be free under certain condition, but the caller does not check the return value of some function and directly use the P message object later. So this will need user free vulnerabilities. Also, so the conclusion is that the code is possible vulnerability if this is a reachability flow between deallocation flow source and the dereference sink. So let's write this code script. So this code script is slightly more complex than the previous one. We will use reachability analysis technology. So first, we need to define the OSI free function in the script. Here you can directly use the allocation function, which is provided by CodeKeer itself, and you can filter it by the special function name. You can see this is the special function. The special function name here is OSI free and receipt. So the next step is to find all expressions and call the OSI free function. So here, I mainly looked for 3 types of calls in C code block in the right. The first is direct free call, and the second is a direct free call with assigned value, and the third is indirect free call. So with these 3 types, we can cover most of the case. So maybe we also may include some situation, but that's okay. So, and then we need to find the expressions and may dereference the object. The code logic can be then understood by checking the code blocks on the left and right side. You can see the left is a CodeKeer code, and the right side is a C++ code. So we have used some API from the CodeKeer itself. So the last step, I just built a reachability analysis in addition to the source function and the sync function talked before. There is also a expiry function. So this function is used to fill out double free case. So why? As we all know, the double free is actually a special user of free case. So of course you don't have filled out user of free case, but I filled out because I also write another CodeKeer script to catch user free bug. After running this script, more than 30 results were generated, and after many analysis, I found 3 really secret bugs. So let's check this one. So this vulnerability is located in the BNEP protect stack, and you can see the code in the left. The BNEP write buffer function is used to send BNEP data packets to the peer device, but in some special case, for example, when a large number of BNEP packets is sent and source blocks the queen, the sending will fail at this time. And then the internal function will just free pbuffer object. But the bad is that the up call includes the error result and continues to use the released pbuffer object in the subsequent code. So this behavior will cause used after free bug. Okay, so in this talk I have talked about 2 weak code patterns, but except these two weak code buttons, I have write some others. You can check in this site, but given the time is limit, so I cannot. And the bug found by this script have not been fixed so far, so I cannot introduce them today. But you can ask me with the email. And in addition to writing code script, I also write some lookfuzz based on simulated estimations for some special function interface. So you can see these three functions which are used to register our L2CAP based profile data callback functions. And by looking up the call to these functions, you can quickly look at the entry of the other protects, such as SDP, BNEP, GNTT, and RFCOM, and so on. So let's focus on the definition of the second parameters. The member variable in the right box here points to the data process callback function. And we can quickly look at all the code assigned that assigns the member variable by browsing the online AOSP code website. So just the cs.android.com. So in this talk, let's just take the SDP protect stack as an example. The SDP data int is a data callback function which is used to process our SDP data packs received from L2CAP. And the two different process functions will be called according to the type of the data pack. And different from the file from the fuzzing, we cannot simply call the interface directly. And we need to configure some initialization data. And then we need to set up different state machines to simulate different Bluetooth connection states so that the fuzzer can reach deeper. If not, you can only get nothing. So I have posted some main code here. And if you are interested in this whole source code, just call me. Just contact me. I will give you all the source code. So through these ideas, I have discovered a total of 33 vulnerabilities in 2022, and among which 3 have been duplicate site, but 8 have been fixed, and the others are still in the process. So you can get all the survey number in this site. Finally, just to make a summary of today's topic. So I have introduced some basic information about Android Bluetooth and analyzed some Bluetooth vulnerabilities in recent years, and shared the full attack surface I know, and introduced some vulnerabilities hunting technologies that I have used in these years. So including code script and some fuzzing tricks, and analyzed the root cause of some severe case I found. Okay, the future. So for the Bluetooth modules, so although some potential out-of-bound read and write vulnerabilities will become less and less, but we can pay attention to this security risk that may be caused by the design of the architecture itself. So such as some tagging pointers, some risk condition in thread messages, and some type confusion in messaging print. So I have submit some vulnerabilities about this. And in addition, so every major version update of Android will also introduce some new Bluetooth features, so such as LE audio in Android 13. So and maybe we can also focus on some Bluetooth stack implementation of other Windows, such as the Qualcomm. Yeah. So here are some materials I referred for writing the site. And I appreciate this work very much. So this is the end. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Any question?